The huge council chamber was full of aliens from across the galaxy. Ambassador Jake Morrison stood in the center, looking up at hundreds of strange faces. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with their own light. But all of them were staring at him with the same cold expression. Jake had been Earth's voice for 3 years. He had traveled to dozens of worlds, made friends with alien traders, and learned their languages. He thought humanity was ready to join the galactic community. Today he would learn how wrong he was. High Arbiter Veltar rose from his crystal throne. The tall, blue-skinned alien's voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. The species called humans has been judged by this council. Jake felt his heart beating faster. Behind him, Captain Lisa Barnes stood perfectly still. She commanded the Earthship Aurora, and she had seen things in space that would give most people nightmares. But even she looked nervous. Humans are too violent, Veltar continued. You fight wars on your own planet. You build weapons instead of art. You take resources from other worlds without asking permission. You refuse to follow our rules. That's not true, Jake said, stepping forward. We came here in peace. We want to learn from you. Veltar's large black eyes seemed to look right through him. In 3 years, humans have settled on 12 worlds. You have built military bases in 4 star systems. Your ships carry weapons that could destroy entire cities. This is not peaceful behavior. Other council members began to speak. A creature that looked like a walking tree said humans cut down forests too quickly. A floating jellyfish-like being complained that human ships were too loud and scared away space creatures. A robot delegate claimed that human computers were becoming too smart and might rebel. Jake tried to answer each complaint. We only cut trees we need for building. Our ships follow all navigation rules. Our computers help us explore and learn. But the council had already made up their minds. They had been planning this for months, maybe years. Every human action had been watched and judged. The final decision is made, Veltar announced. Humans are banned from all council space. You have 30 days to remove all your people, ships, and buildings from our territory. If you refuse, we will use force. The chamber erupted in strange sounds. Some aliens clicked their approval. Others made musical noises, and a few just glowed, brighter. Jake felt like the walls were closing in on him. This is a mistake, he said loudly. We can work together. We can learn from each other. The decision is final, Veltar replied. Guards will escort you to your ship. 2 massive alien soldiers stepped forward. They wore armor that sparkled like starlight and carried weapons that hummed with energy. Jake and Lisa had no choice but to follow them out of the chamber. As they walked through the council station's corridors, Jake's mind raced. Thousands of humans lived and worked in council space. Scientists studying alien technology, traders selling Earth goods, explorers mapping new worlds. All of them would have to come home. What do we tell Earth? Lisa asked quietly as they reached their ship. The truth, Jake replied. We tell them we've been kicked out of the galaxy's most exclusive club. The Aurora was a beautiful ship, built with the best technology Earth could offer. It had taken humanity 50 years to develop faster than light travel, and another 20 to build ships like this one. Now it felt like all that work had been wasted. As they flew away from the council station, Jake looked back at the massive structure. It was made from materials found on 100 different worlds, shaped by artists from dozens of species. It represented everything humanity wanted to become part of. The journey home took 2 weeks. During that time, Jake and Lisa sent long reports to Earth's leaders. They described every detail of the trial, every word spoken, every alien face in the crowd. President Dan Hayes and Fleet Admiral Kate Sullivan read everything twice. When the Aurora finally reached Earth's solar system, Jake felt relieved to see the blue-green planet growing larger on the screen. Earth looked small and peaceful compared to the vast council territories they had just left. But it was home. At Earth Command headquarters, the planet's top leaders gathered in a secure meeting room. President Hayes sat at the head of a long table, his face serious but not defeated. Admiral Sullivan spread out star maps showing all the space beyond council territory. So they think we're too dangerous, Hayes said after reading the reports. They're afraid of what we might become. Maybe they should be, Admiral Sullivan replied with a slight smile. Look at this map, Jake. The Council controls about 40% of known space. That leaves 60% for everyone else. Jake studied the holographic display. Vast regions of stars stretched out beyond Council borders. Some areas had never been explored by anyone. Others were home to independent species who had chosen not to join the Council. Dr. Ben Parker, Earth's expert on alien life, pulled up survey data from their exploration missions. We've found mineral-rich systems out there, planets perfect for farming, trade routes that don't go through Council space at all. The Council thinks they're punishing us, Admiral Sullivan continued. But maybe they just set us free. No more rules about how fast we can expand, no more asking permission to settle new worlds, no more limits on our technology or military. President Hayes leaned back in his chair, thinking hard. The room was quiet, except for the hum of computers processing data from across human space. You know what? Hayes said finally. If they won't let us join their club, we'll build our own, and we'll make it better. Admiral Sullivan nodded. We'll need more ships, lots more ships, and we'll need volunteers willing to travel far from Earth. We'll find them, Jake said, feeling hopeful for the first time since the trial. Humans have always been explorers. This is just the next step. Hayes stood up and looked at the star map again. Operation New Horizon begins today. We're going to show the galaxy what humans can really do when nobody tells us we can't. 5 years had passed since the Council threw humanity out of their space. Captain Rick Chen stood on the bridge of his ship, the Frontier, watching something amazing happen. Below him, huge colony ships were leaving Earth's orbit, heading for distant stars. Each ship carried 10,000 people ready to start new lives on alien worlds. Rick smiled as he counted the ships through the window. 15 colony ships in this group alone, he said to his crew. That's more than the Council has sent out in 10 years. The changes on Earth were incredible. Every day, new ships rolled out of the massive construction yards floating in space, around the planet. Admiral Sullivan had figured out how to build ships faster and better than anyone in the galaxy. The factories worked day and night, and robots helped human workers create vessels that could travel farther and faster than anything the Council had. Commander Amy Foster walked up to Rick with a datapad in her hands. Captain Martinez just sent a message from the Vega trade route. He says business is booming out there. Rick took the pad and read the report. Tony Martinez commanded one of Earth's new merchant ships, trading with alien species who lived outside Council space. These aliens had been ignored by the Council for centuries, but humans treated them as equals. Look at these numbers, Rick said, showing the pad to Amy. We're making more money in 1 month than some Council worlds make in a year, and we're doing it by being fair and honest. The secret was simple. While the Council made complicated rules and charged high taxes, humans offered better deals. They sold goods at lower prices, bought alien products at fair rates, and never demanded political control in exchange for trade. Dr. Sarah Kim had become famous across the galaxy for her work with new alien species. She had built research stations in star systems no Council ship had ever visited. Every week, her teams made contact with new civilizations. The cat-like people from Rigel want to meet our leaders, Sarah reported during a video call to Earth. They've never seen technology like ours, and they want to learn. In exchange, they're offering to teach us about their medicine. They can cure diseases we've never even heard of. President Hayes listened to the report from his office in Washington. 5 years of success had made him confident that humanity had chosen the right path. What about the Altarians? Are they still interested in the mining deal? More than interested, Sarah replied. They want to become full partners. They'll give us access to rare metals from their asteroid fields, and we'll help them build better mining equipment. It's a win for everyone. But humans weren't just thinking about trade and money. Commander Steve Walsh had created something new called the Colonial Defense Force. These weren't soldiers meant to conquer other worlds. They were protectors who helped keep human colonies and alien friends safe from pirates and raiders. Steve stood in front of his officers in a training facility on Mars. The men and women around him came from every nation on Earth, united by a single goal. "Remember this," Steve told them. "We're not the Council's peacekeepers who only show up when it's convenient. We're defenders. When someone asks for our help, we come running. When pirates attack a trade convoy, we stop them. When a colony needs protection, we provide it." The results spoke for themselves. Word spread across the galaxy that humans could be trusted. Unlike the Council, which promised help but often did nothing, human ships actually showed up when needed. Captain Linda Gray commanded the defense ship Defender. She had just finished helping a small alien colony fight off raiders who had been stealing their food supplies for months. "The Council told these people they were too far away to help," Linda reported to Steve. "We flew here in 3 days and solved their problem in 6 hours. Now they want to join our trade network." This was happening everywhere human ships traveled. Species that had given up hope were finding new friends in humanity. The Council's bureaucracy moved slowly, but humans made decisions quickly and kept their promises. Dr. Ben Parker studied reports coming in from across human space. As Earth's expert on alien life, he was amazed by how many different species wanted to work with humans. "We've made contact with over 50 new civilizations this year," he told President Hayes during their weekly meeting. Most of them had never even heard of the Galactic Council. They thought they were alone in the universe until our ships found them. "And now?" Hayes asked. "Now they're part of something bigger. They trade with each other through our networks. They share technology and ideas. Some are even sending their children to study at our universities." The transformation was so complete that even some Council species were starting to ask questions. Why were the banned humans doing so well while Council worlds struggled with old problems and slow decisions? Admiral Sullivan reviewed reports from across human space. Every day brought news of new settlements, successful trade deals, and alien species asking to join the growing human community. "We started with nothing but Earth and a handful of ships," she told her staff. "Now we control more trade routes than most Council members. We have allies in dozens of star systems, and we're just getting started." The best part was that everything felt natural and right. Humans weren't forcing anyone to join them or follow their rules. Instead, they offered friendship, fair deals, and protection to anyone who wanted it. In return, they gained access to new technologies, resources, and knowledge that made everyone stronger. Jake Morrison, the ambassador who had witnessed humanity's rejection by the Council, now served as Earth's first Minister of Alien Affairs. He spent his days meeting with delegations from across the galaxy, all of them wanting to learn more about the human way of doing things. 5 years ago, they called us too aggressive and dangerous, Jake reflected during a quiet moment in his office. Now they're studying our methods and wondering why they didn't think of this approach themselves. The foundation was solid and growing stronger every day. Humanity had turned their greatest defeat into their greatest victory, and the HFY galaxy was taking notice. 10 years had passed since the Council banned humanity from their space. Now, Admiral Lisa Barnes stood in the command center of Titan Station, the largest military base humans had ever built. Through the massive windows, she could see hundreds of ships coming and going. Some belonged to humans, but many came from alien worlds that had chosen to join what everyone now called the Terran Commonwealth. Lieutenant Colonel Mike Johnson walked up to Lisa with his daily report. "Admiral, we now control 47 star systems directly. Another 63 systems have joined us as partners. Our merchant ships number over 3,000, and we have trade deals with 112 different alien species." Lisa looked at the huge display screen showing a map of the galaxy. The blue areas represented human space, and it was growing bigger every month. But more importantly, the green areas showed their allies and trading partners. Together, they covered more space than the Council controlled. "What's the status of our new mobile shipyard?" Lisa asked. "Captain Greg Palmer says the Endeavor is working perfectly," Mike replied. "It can build entire fleets while traveling between star systems. Last month, it completed 50 new ships while exploring the Helix Nebula. This was something the Council had never thought of. Their shipyards were fixed in place, easy targets for enemies. But human engineers had built shipyards that could move, hide, and keep working even during battles. The Commonwealth wasn't just about military power, though. Ambassador Nancy Clark had started something called the Outer Rim Development Bank. It gave loans and technical help to alien worlds that wanted to improve their lives. Species that the Council had ignored for centuries suddenly found humans willing to help them build better cities, cleaner power systems, and faster transportation. The jellyfish people from Rigel want to borrow money to build underwater farms, Nancy reported during a video conference with Earth. They'll pay us back by sharing their water purification technology. It's technology that could help solve Earth's ocean pollution problems. President Hayes, now older but still sharp, smiled at the news. 5 years ago, the Council said we were too aggressive. Now we're helping aliens clean their oceans and grow more food. I think we've proven them wrong. But the real proof was in the numbers. Dr. Paul Martinez had been keeping track of every first contact humans made with new alien species. His research showed something remarkable. We've met over 300 new species in human space, Paul explained to a gathering of Earth scientists. Every single one was treated with respect. We learned their languages, studied their cultures, and offered friendship before asking for anything in return. Compare that to the Council's method of demanding immediate submission to their laws. The results spoke for themselves. When aliens met Council ships, they often hid or ran away. When they met human ships, they invited them down for dinner and cultural exchanges. Captain Betty White commanded the exploration ship Discovery. She had just returned from a 6-month mission to the far edge of the galaxy, where no one had ever traveled before. We found a whole cluster of civilizations out there, Betty reported to Admiral Sullivan. They've been isolated for thousands of years, developing amazing technologies. The bird-like people from Altair 7 have figured out how to grow food in space without any soil. The crystal beings from Vega 9 can predict weather patterns across entire star systems. And they want to share this knowledge? Admiral Sullivan asked. More than that, Betty replied with excitement. They want to join the Commonwealth. They said humans are the first outsiders who treated them as equals instead of primitive aliens who needed to be civilized. This was happening across the galaxy. The Commonwealth's approach of friendship first, business second was winning hearts and minds everywhere. Even some Council species were starting to question why their government was so rigid and unfriendly. The tipping point came when the Andromedan Trade Guild made a decision that shocked the galaxy. This organization controlled some of the most important shipping routes in known space. For thousands of years they had worked with the Council. Guildmaster Zeph-Hai, a wise old alien who looked like a walking tree with golden leaves, announced the news himself. The Andromedan Trade Guild is ending our exclusive partnership with the Galactic Council. From now on, we will work primarily with the Terran Commonwealth. The announcement sent shockwaves across Council space. Overnight, many Council worlds found themselves cut off from vital trade routes and resources. Meanwhile, Commonwealth worlds suddenly had access to rare goods and materials they had only dreamed of. Commander Carl Thompson was in charge of protecting the new trade routes. His ships made sure that merchant convoys could travel safely between Commonwealth and Andromedan space. The pirates who used to attack these convoys have mostly given up, Carl reported to his superiors. They know we respond fast and hit hard, but more importantly, we've offered jobs to many of them. Why steal cargo when you can earn good money as legitimate security guards? Even former enemies were finding places in the growing Commonwealth. Humans had learned that most pirates and raiders weren't evil, just desperate. By offering them honest work and fair pay, the Commonwealth had turned many criminals into productive citizens. Dr. Amy Chen led the Commonwealth's scientific research programs. Her teams included humans and aliens working together on projects that no single species could have completed alone. We're making breakthroughs every day, Amy explained during a presentation to Commonwealth leaders. The insect-like Vrians taught us how to communicate with computers using pheromones. The aquatic deltans showed us how to harvest energy from ocean currents. The rock-eating silicanoids helped us develop mining techniques that don't damage planets. Each discovery made the Commonwealth stronger and more attractive to potential new members. Knowledge shared freely became power multiplied across hundreds of worlds. Jake Morrison, now serving as the Commonwealth's foreign minister, received visitors from across the galaxy every day. Many came from council space, secretly hoping to learn how the Commonwealth had become so successful. The secret isn't really a secret, Jake would tell them. We treat everyone with respect. We offer fair deals. We keep our promises. And we never demand that others change their cultures to match ours. But perhaps the most impressive thing about the Commonwealth was how it had grown without conquest. Every world had joined voluntarily. Every species had chosen to be part of something larger, while keeping their independence and unique traditions. The Council had created their empire through fear and force. The Commonwealth had built theirs through friendship and mutual benefit. As the 10-year anniversary of humanity's ban approached, it was clear which approach worked better. 15 years had passed since the Galactic Council threw humanity out of their space. Now, Ambassador Jake Morrison found himself standing in the same council chamber where it all began. But this time, everything was different. The chamber looked exactly the same, with its crystal walls and floating platforms for different alien species. But Jake wasn't alone anymore. Behind him sat delegates from over 200 worlds that belonged to the Terran Commonwealth. Humans, cat-like Rigelians, wise tree people, underwater Deltans, and dozens of other species all wearing the blue and gold colors of their alliance. High Arbiter Veltar still sat on his crystal throne, but he looked older and much less confident than before. His large black eyes kept moving between Jake and the massive Commonwealth delegation. The organization called the Terran Commonwealth. Veltar began, his voice not as strong as it used to be, has grown beyond what we expected 15 years ago. Jake smiled slightly. He had prepared for this moment for months. We've been quite busy, yes. Building friendships, helping our neighbors, exploring new worlds. You know, the things you said we were too dangerous to do. Around the chamber, council members shifted uncomfortably. The truth was obvious to everyone. While the council had stayed the same, the Commonwealth had become something amazing. Fleet Admiral Kate Sullivan, now 72 years old but still sharp as a laser, activated the holographic displays around the chamber. The screen showed the true size of what humanity and their friends had built together. 312 star systems, Admiral Sullivan announced. Over 4,000 ships in our combined fleets. Active trade with 600 different species. And every single member joined us because they wanted to, not because we forced them. President Lisa Hayes, who had followed her father into politics, stood up to address the council directly. She was young, confident, and represented a new generation of humans who had grown up in the Commonwealth. 15 years ago, you banned us because you were afraid of what humans might do, Lisa said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. You thought we were too aggressive, too violent, too quick to expand. What you actually did was force us to prove that cooperation works better than control. She gestured toward the Commonwealth delegates. Look around this room. Every species here chose to join our alliance. Every world in our territory asked to be part of something bigger. We didn't conquer anyone. We didn't force our culture on others. We simply offered friendship and fair deals. The evidence was impossible to ignore. While council space had remained mostly the same for decades, the Commonwealth had become a beacon of hope for countless civilizations. Their universities welcomed students from across the galaxy. Their hospitals treated anyone who needed help, regardless of species or ability to pay. Their military protected not just Commonwealth worlds, but any civilization that asked for assistance. Dr. Amy Chen, now the Commonwealth's chief scientist, presented their latest achievements. Her presentation showed medical breakthroughs that had saved millions of lives, new technologies that made space travel safer and faster, and agricultural techniques that had ended hunger on dozens of worlds. This is what happens when you combine human creativity with the wisdom of hundreds of different species, Amy explained. We haven't just grown bigger, we've grown better. Captain Tony Adams commanded the Commonwealth flagship Liberty, which waited in orbit above the council station. Like all Commonwealth ships, it carried both human and alien crew members working together as equals. Our ship has crew from 23 different worlds, Tony reported when asked about Commonwealth diversity. Our navigator is from Rigel, our engineer is from the Centauri system, and our doctor is one of those crystal beings from Vega. They all chose to serve because they believe in what we're building. The Council faced a difficult choice. They could continue to treat the Commonwealth as enemies and risk becoming irrelevant, or they could find a way to work with this new galactic power that had proven itself through 15 years of success. Some Council members still opposed any cooperation with humans. A delegate who looked like a giant spider insisted that humans were still dangerous and unpredictable. A floating gas creature claimed that the Commonwealth was growing too fast and would eventually threaten everyone. But other Council members had been watching the Commonwealth's actions carefully. They had seen human ships rescue alien refugees when Council forces were too busy with paperwork. They had seen Commonwealth doctors cure diseases that Council scientists couldn't solve. They had seen human traders offer fair prices when Council merchants demanded ridiculous fees. High Arbiter. Veltar finally spoke again, his voice hesitant. The Council recognizes that circumstances have changed since our last meeting with human representatives. Perhaps it is time to discuss the possibility of normalized relations between our governments. Jake leaned back in his chair, feeling satisfied but not surprised. We're willing to talk, but understand this. We're not begging to join your club anymore. We built our own organization, and it's working very well. The Commonwealth delegation remained calm and confident. They had nothing to prove to the Council anymore. Their success spoke for itself. We're prepared to discuss trade agreements, territorial boundaries, and cooperation on mutual problems, Jake continued. But the Commonwealth will remain independent. We've learned that sometimes the best thing that can happen is being forced to find your own way. Dr. Ben Parker, who had studied alien cultures for decades, stood up to speak. The galaxy is big enough for both the Council and the Commonwealth. There are still countless worlds to explore, new species to meet, and problems to solve. We can work together without anyone giving up their independence. As the formal negotiations began, Jake thought about the incredible journey humanity had taken. They had started as a single planet begging for acceptance from older, more established civilizations. Now they led an alliance that had become a model for how different species could work together as equals. The Commonwealth wasn't just an empire built from Earth's exile. It was proof that diversity made everyone stronger, that cooperation was more powerful than control, and that sometimes being rejected by the establishment was the first step toward building something better. Young alien students now studied human history in schools across the galaxy. They learned about a species that had been told they were too dangerous to join galactic civilization, only to create a better version of that civilization themselves. In the end, Earth hadn't just been banned from the galaxy. Earth had been freed to show the galaxy what was truly possible when different peoples worked together with respect, fairness, and hope for the future.